Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for, like I said in my email, our penultimate Cal OES campus cohort meeting for October. Um, there we go. Um, we're going to do our normal icebreaker, a couple announcements, and then we have some of our friends from One Love that are going to be joining us. We have Brittany here and Yasmina. Who are going to talk about some of the resources that they have available. My name is Priscilla Clausen. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a project coordinator here at Valor. Ashley will be with us too. She's just wrapping up another call. She's super busy these days. So, yeah, she's just wrapping up another call and will join us a little bit later. But to start us out, if you all could introduce yourselves, just name, pronouns, the campus that you're affiliated with or that you work on, and your position within the grant or within the campus. And then for this month's icebreaker, I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit Halloween themey, but kind of what substance like would be your downfall, would harm you, would be your bane, like similar to how vampires can't be around garlic. Um, I'll go first, just so you all have have a few minutes to think about it. I feel like this one is takes a few minutes to think about. For me, I was like, what's the difference between this and like a phobia? But for me, I picked my again, Priscilla, she, her pronouns. Um, and I picked rhubarb, which sounds silly, but I legit hate it. It's one of those things that, like, it's just so bitter to me that even like my mother-in-law, my grandmother, all these people in my life will make like strawberry rhubarb pie or something that sounds great. But then I taste it and I'm just like, this is terrible. It's the most bitter thing. Why does it look like celery? And it's like celery and cranberry had a gross baby, and it's trying to kill me every time I eat it. It tastes like it's poison. So, that's mine. I will popcorn to anyone who has an answer yet, because again, I feel like this one's difficult. But if someone's like right off the bat, like, I know what it is, it's feet, or like whatever the thing that is your downfall that will get you.
I'll go. So, hi guys. My name's Yasmina Townsley, a she, her pronouns. I am part of One Love. I'm here just kind of learning about like calls like this from Brittany. So I actually just started at One Love just about a month ago. So you probably won't hear anything from me, but I'm excited to just see how these calls go and just be a part of this community and this space with you all. And I would say my downfall is horseradish. And that is because I was in Slovenia last year at a Mexican restaurant, and the waitress suggested I try something that's like a pizza. And it was a calzone, hot pockety type of thing filled with horseradish. And it was the worst thing I ever tried in my entire life. I'm pretty sure the waiter and the chefs had a bet seeing if me and my partner could finish it. And we did because I wasn't going to lose the bet, but it was awful.
And at a
Sounds
Mexican restaurant, no less, right? Like, sure, hot pocket full of horseradish. Sounds good. I feel like you're right. They were probably just messing with you. They're like, this is super secret off the menu. You'll love it. Eat this pocket of horseradish. Oh, thank you
that
so much,
sounds like
Yasmina.
warm and gooey and not good at all. That gives me the EBTBs.
Does anybody else want to volunteer to go next?
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. I'm Pilar. My pronouns are she, her, hers. There's a lot of things that I don't like. Oh, also, sorry, I'm the campus confidential advocate at Caltech in Pasadena. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I don't like, but I'm gonna give one that's kind of shocking to everyone that I don't like cold cheese. So like I don't like cut up cheese. So when people bring like a board out and they're like wine and cheese or like bread and cheese, like I just something about the texture of cold cheese I can't do it. I like warm cheese, like melted cheese, all of that. I'm super into that, but I just can't get out of my head like when it's cold that it's like mold or something. So yeah, that's the one that it would be for me. And I'm gonna go with Paula.
Hey, everybody. I'm the administrator of the Equity and Title IX office at Caltech. I work with Pilar and our other colleagues here. I use she, her pronouns, and the horseradish kind of actually reminded me about one time I took a big bite of wasabi and I didn't know what it was and I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. So I kind of stay away from wasabi now because it's like it's forever embedded in my memory that I almost died. But I'm going to send it to Anna Mae.
You're so real for that, Paula. We made our friend do that in high school once and he almost threw up. So you are not alone in that experience. Hey y'all, my name's Anime. I use she, they pronouns. I'm the dual advocate and educator stationed at USC, and I also work at the YWCA Greater Los Angeles location. This is such a good question. Priscilla, I feel like you always come up with the best opening questions, and I take them every time and I go and use them at my other meetings. And Debbie loves them too. This is a good one, and I had to think about it. And then I realized, as like an Arizona girl, I have several that could be from there. And I think my main one would be bunny ear cactus, which sounds deceptively very cute. It is not, I would like to say. And it has these short, small spines that are really fine and they're really fuzzy and they burn. And when they get in your skin, like you can't feel them, they're impossible to get out. And they grow and like they're almost invasive. They grow in these giant patches throughout the Sonoran Desert where I grew up in Tucson. And like if you brush against it, it's in your clothes, it spreads all over your body. And one time when I was little, I have a lot of siblings and we were playing tag and I was running for my brother Tyler and he was a little overzealous. So I tried to run faster than him and I just fell head first into like a patch of that cactus and it covered me head to toe. And my siblings had to like carry me in by like my hands and feet into the house. My mom just had to put me in the tub and was like trying to hose it off. Traumatized to this day. I'm almost 30 years old. My friend got like a little piece of it and like planted it in her garden like last year and I saw it and I was like, burn that. You cannot grow that here. Like, and that's the only way to get rid of it too, is you have to burn it. And so people have to do that throughout the desert back home is they'll go through and do like controlled burns of this cactus. You can tell it's very personal for me. I hate that cactus. It hurts so bad. So avoid it if you can, however cute it sounds. It is not. And I will go ahead and popcorn over to Monica.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Monica. This is my first meeting. I work at Sonoma State as kind of a grant coordinator for violence prevention. So I will be jumping in on these calls for the last couple. And I have a 3-month-old baby at home. So right now, currently the bane of my existence is the spit up that is happening all the time, no matter like just at the worst time possible. You just put on a new shirt, you're out and about and you don't have a clean shirt. And that is really right now just what is driving me crazy. And I will popcorn to Betty.
Hi guys. My name's Betty. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the social media manager for Not Alone at the Beach, Cal State Long Beach. And it's funny, I have the same bane of my existence as Paula, because I was just thinking of like wasabi isn't like inherently like disgusting to me. It's just like it would ruin me. Like if I had it, like I would be taken out. Like it'd be over for me. Like I can't do it. Like I love sushi, like, and I'd be like, oh, maybe like now that I eat so much more sushi than I used to, maybe like I'll be able to do it. But like even like the tiniest bit, like I'm taken out. Like I can't do it. I wish I could though. I wish I was that strong. But I think I'm going to popcorn over to Diana. She hasn't gone yet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana. I am the student success coach for the violence intervention program at Rio Hondo College. And what I would go with, warm milk. For some reason, I'm not a milk person. I used to be when I was young. But then when I came to the US, for some reason, I didn't like milk, but I just can't stand warm milk. Like the smell of it, or just like they made us try it once when like they're like, oh, just try a little sip because you're not lactose intolerant or anything, right? And I'm like, I don't think so. It's just, I just don't like it because I love cheese. But they made me try it and I just like, I cannot warm milk, no, but I'll have it with hot chocolate or anything else if it's made like that, but just not warm milk on its own. But yeah. And
Who
then, oh yeah, I was gonna say, wait, who hasn't
I
gone?
think we have Brittany, Somaya, and Kelly. I think. Brittany, did you want to go? I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I am ready. On that note, though, I do think milk tastes way different in different countries. So I support that, Diana. I know my family's from Colombia, and when I used to visit when I was younger, I always thought the milk tasted weird there. But as an adult, I've come to realize I think it's our milk that tastes kind of weird because it's a lot more processed. So I support that. But my name is Brittany. I am with One Love, so I'm on the partner success team here. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I would say one substance that would be my bane is pickles. If pickles touch anything, I know it's people are either like really in agreement with it or super like anti it. But if it touches anything that's on my plate, like even when they serve you like a nice sandwich or a burger and they put a pickle just like next to your food and like the juice of it kind of starts to seep into like the bun or the bread, I'm done. Like I cannot eat it. I won't eat it. It's gross. And I'm not one to like send food back at restaurants or anything, but I would say if someone were to accidentally put pickles in my burger, that would absolutely be something that I would have to send back because it ruins my food. So, vinegar, I mean, what type of vinegar are we talking? Because there's some tasty vinegar.
I mean, like pickles, right? I feel like the reason they taste so strong is because mostly the vinegar, like, the dill and the other seasoning in it. But I feel like the tartness of the vinegar is what gets a lot of people. But like you like a vinaigrette.
I love like a good red wine vinegar on my sandwich.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that stuff's fine with me. It's just something about the pickle. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I'll go ahead and pass it on over to Somya.
Hi, everyone. My name is Somya, and I'm also calling from the One Love Foundation. I actually mainly work with colleges, so I'm so excited to be on this call because I'll probably be the person following up with all of you. If you're interested in doing One Love work, I I don't know if I have a substance. I'm like trying to think of a food item, but I feel like I'm pretty good with like most foods. I would probably say pollen because I get really bad spring allergies, and it's sad because spring is my favorite season, but I still like can't walk outside even in my neighborhood without getting sick or like being sick at least once during the spring. So that is probably what I would say. And I think Kelly might be the next person.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Sorry I popped on a little bit late, so I'm trying to catch up to this substance question. But I'm Kelly Douglas. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm at Sonoma State and I'm the confidential advocate. And I feel like the first thing I think of, the pickle conversation reminded me when I was little, my swim team would do like a 4th of July relay. And like the older you got, the grosser the food you were given for the relay. And I just remember like as a young kid, like they would make your food really soggy with something, like kind of like the pickle situation. And then like as you got older, they would give you like spam on crackers or like weird stuff, but the soggy stuff is really what got me. So just a quick remembrance, that's what I could think of. So
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, thanks everyone. I feel like a lot of us chose stuff that you have to eat, which is funny. When you said soggy, it reminded me that like there's so many people who hate like stepping in water in your socks or something, which is terrible. Or like if you're at a theme park and you're wearing jeans and they get wet, it's like the worst. So yeah, thanks everyone for sharing yours. Those were super fun. That was everyone, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So just a couple announcements and updates. Our last meeting, November 21st. This will be the last time we all meet as a group, potentially. I don't know who is and who is not reapplying for the grant. But yeah, November 21st. Again, December, we don't have a meeting since it's so busy and hectic for everyone. But for the upcoming grant, everyone saw, assuming, I think we talked about it a little bit last month, but the new um, RFA came out, and the deadline is November 5th. Does anyone want to talk about it? Does anyone have advice? Does anyone have questions? Does anyone want to talk about whether or not they're applying?
So are all the schools going off the 5-year grant at the same time?
Yeah, so it's kind of a cycle.
Uh-huh.
And right now is the first time that it is up for competitive grant. So this is the first time in 5 years that new grants can apply. So yeah, this is the end of this cycle. You can reapply for it as long as you have no extenuating circumstances. And I think the only thing that they said that would make you ineligible is if you have the OVW campus grant. But other than that, everyone can reapply, but there's no guarantee that um you'll get the grant again or that we'll have this, the same mix of people and everything.
How many schools had the original 5-year grant? Do you know?
I don't.
Uh,
I know Cal State Long Beach was one of them. And I can follow up with Leah and ask her if she remembers, but I can also do some research and see if I can. Cal
Yeah, I could
OES, I
probably do that.
haven't found a page where they publish like their grantees the way that OVW has one, but I can
Uh-huh.
look into it and see how many. Thanks for asking that.
I mean, it is definitely, it's all online now, so everything has to be
Yeah.
submitted on their database of Cal OES. So it's a little different, a lot of the same information, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So no one has questions. If you have anything, feel free to reach out to Ashley and I. We're happy to, set up a one-on-one meeting with you. Or, if you have grant writers that are working on it or whatever, we're happy to help with any way that we can. Or put you in connection with any of your other grantees if you're interested in that and talking to them about like what's been successful for them. I know that Cal OES has typically liked to see um, projects that have been like kind of continuing the same work and expanding on it. So I think that you all will have a good chance if you do apply again, of just saying like what you've been successful with in the past and how you plan to expand on that in the future, I think is something that they're really looking for. So, okay, and then lastly, there's an upcoming campus conference, Puzzles 2024. I sent the email out to all of you yesterday. It's a really great conference. It's online, so it's totally virtual. You can come and go as you please. All of the sessions are typically recorded and available for a year. So even if you can't make it at all during the entire conference, you can go back and watch all the recordings. There's been some really great sessions in the past, and they always do really good work. So it's something we definitely recommend if you're able to make it work for that. And then meeting recordings. I talked about it a little bit last time. that we have all of our meeting recordings on the hub. But since we're switching from the hub to a new platform, I am just gonna start having the recordings like a list of links. So hopefully this is helpful for you all. I'll send it out today after the meeting as well so that everybody has the list of recordings. That way, you kind of can keep it in perpetuity if you want to go back and follow up with something. You don't have to remember how to get to the hub and how to use everything. It'll just be available for you. And these are the topics that we've done so far this year. All right, so that is it. I will go ahead and pass it over to Brittany. Let me open it up for screen sharing in case you have slides that you want to share with us. But does anyone have any questions before we go into One Love? No, y'all are good. All right. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all just so we have a little visual to what I'm saying. Perfect. All righty. You can all see my screen? Sweet. Okay, so just to zoom us out a little bit in case you have never heard of One Love, you're like, where is it that these people are calling in from? This is One Love. So what One Love does is we are a national leader in educating young folks about relationship health. So that means that we aim to provide young people with the skills that they need in order to identify and avoid abuse, and just to teach them how to love better in all of their relationships, whether those are relationships with their family, their friends, or with their romantic partners. And we do that through prevention education. So we do a ton of we follow a train the trainer model where we train folks in the community. So either folks like you guys, students, staff members, at universities, whatever it may be. And we have them trained to then go on and facilitate some film-based workshops with the youth in their community. And it's not letting me, there we go. So these are some statistics that you all might be familiar with already, but this is why it is so important and so powerful for us to be engaging in conversations about healthy and unhealthy relationships with the youth that we work with. So you'll see here that over 1 in 3 women will experience some form of relationship abuse in their lifetime. It's about 1 in 3 men, 1 in 2 transgender and non-binary people. And we also know that Black and Indigenous women are even more likely to experience intimate partner violence than their white counterparts. So something that you'll see a ton throughout all of our materials is the 10 signs. So you'll see we have the 10 signs of a healthy relationship in blue on the left. So those are going to be things like trust, honesty, independence, respect, equality, kindness, healthy conflict, comfortable pace, taking responsibility, and fun. But then on the right-hand side, you'll see the 10 signs of an unhealthy relationship. So those are things that could look like intensity, possessiveness, deflecting responsibility, manipulation, isolation, sabotage, belittling, guilting, volatility, and betrayal. So the reason that all of our materials kind of come back to the 10 signs is to help provide a common language for folks to use when they're kind of trying to identify these behaviors in their own relationships. And then these are these 7 main learning objectives that we go over in some of those workshops that I mentioned. Some of the workshops will go through all 7 of these. Others will only go through 3 or 4. And these are just going to be some of the key themes and the key topics that we want folks to learn about. So number 1 is knowing the signs and spotting the signs. And this is going to be one of the required learning objectives that's going to be covered in every single one of our workshops. And then number 2 is engaging conversations about healthy and unhealthy relationships. Number 3, practicing healthy behaviors. Number 4, communicating boundaries and practicing consent. Helping a friend in an unhealthy relationship. How to navigate endings. And then number 7 is also the second one that is a required learning objective that'll be covered in all the workshops. And that's going to be how to access resources when in need. And this is a pretty zoomed out view of the 16 different workshops that we have available for folks to get trained in and to use with the youth that they work with. So you'll see, if you look in the top left, for example, Friendlets, that's going to be, you're able to use that with folks all the way from 4th grade to 7th grade. So that's going to focus a little bit more on friendships. But then we have other content that ranges all the way up to college age folks. So it's a little bit more relatable to them. They get to see different types of relationships that folks that are college aged might be experiencing. And you can get trained in facilitating all of those in 2 ways. So our self-paced courses, I would say, are our most popular way to get trained, because these, you can go ahead and pause and play as many times as you need, or you can sit and binge it and just get trained all in one sitting, whatever works for you and your schedule. And I'll walk through that in just a couple minutes. And then we have our live trainings. So these are live Zoom trainings. So they will be hosted by our staff about once a week. So we have an ongoing schedule of all the trainings that are available. So if you see that you wanted to get trained in Friendlets, for example, you could go ahead and just pop into that training, and it's a little bit more interactive. So those are going to be the 2 different ways to get trained. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing real quick so I can reshare. And I'm going to pull up our education center. So that's where you're going to find those resources that I just talked about. And that's where the trainings will be. So 1 second. Can we see the education center? Cool. Okay. So this is our education center. I always suggest that once you get signed in, mind you, you do need to create an account if you do want to go through the trainings. All of these resources are completely free of cost. All you need to do is sign up with an email, create a password, and that's pretty much it. So I always suggest kind of reading this menu bar up here from left to right. So step 1 is going to be discover. Step 2, training. Step 3, lesson plans. And then your final step is going to be accessing the film and starting a workshop. So let's hook into discover. So under discover, you'll see if you click into our workshops, this will take you to a whole bunch of different trailers and previews of all of those 16 clips that I just showed you. So if we scroll down here, you can go ahead and filter by grade level. So, sorry, am I frozen? Or are we good? Okay, cool. Thank you. So we'll scroll down here, and if we want to filter just by college, you would just click on here. And then these would be all of the workshops that you could use with those college-age folks. So you'll see underneath each clip, it'll show you the recommendation. So this road trip workshop, for example, would be most appropriate for youth from 9th grade up to college-aged. And then it'll also tell you the amount of time that it'll take to host that workshop. So this, for example, would take a minimum of about 45 minutes to host. So once you've kind of poked around in here, you found what it is that you want to get trained in, you can pop into training. And here is the self-paced courses that I mentioned. If you did want to do the live trainings, you could go ahead and click in here and it'll take you to the schedule that we have. And it's always getting updated, so you'll see the most up-to-date trainings available. But let's walk through the self-paced courses. So the very first time that you go to take a training, you will have to take the One Love 101 courses in order to unlock the workshop specific trainings. So these are going to total about 40 minutes in training. They just give you kind of a background on what One Love is, what One Love does, why it is that we do what we do. It'll provide you with some facilitation tips in case you haven't hosted these types of workshops with folks before. And it'll go over those 7 learning objectives that I just talked about in a little bit more detail. So once you complete those, these will all be unlocked in order for you to be able to get trained in. So if we scroll on down, you'll see that the length of time that it takes to get trained in each of these is going to be a little different. So for road trip, you will be getting trained for about 28 minutes, and that includes the length of time that it takes to watch the film. So you'll see some of these might be a little shorter, like Love Labyrinth is only going to take 16 minutes to get trained in because the film itself is only about 3 minutes long. So that's where you get trained. And then I'll pop into the next step, which is going to be lesson plans. So after you've completed the training and it's time to figure out like, okay, what am I going to do with this film? How am I going to like host a session with the folks that I work with? You'd pop in here. We always suggest getting started with the grab and go plans. They're a little bit easier to follow. They're a step-by-step guide, and they'll only cover maybe 3 or 4 of those learning objectives that we talked about. You could also click into the discussion guide if you wanted a more like zoomed out, a little bit more general session. The discussion guides will have all of the learning objectives that are covered in the workshop. They look pretty much the same. So we'll click into grab and go lesson plans. And here you'll see that each of these workshops are going to be accompanied by at least 2 different lesson plans. So for Amor del Bueno, for example, you see that this one on the left is going to talk a little bit more about a breakup plan, whereas the one on the right zooms in a little bit more on boundaries. So you can also see that in the objectives list right here. So you'll see navigate endings is one of the objectives covered, whereas on this one, you see that communicate boundaries and practice consent is going to be what you talk about. So once you've kind of picked which one is most relatable to the audience that you're working with, or which one maybe you want to talk about a little bit more, you can go ahead and just download it from right here, and you are good to go into the last step. So you'll click into Access Film and Start Workshop whenever it is that you are ready to go ahead and either review all the materials that you're going to be using, or you're in front of the group and you're ready to play the film and start the workshop. So I'll walk through what that'll look like. Here you'll enter the name of the school that it is that you're working with. For today, I'm just going to go ahead and type in One Love as our example. And then you'll select it from the drop-down menu. You would go ahead and enter the number of participants that are in the workshop. So if you're just reviewing the materials, you can go ahead and just click 1. But let's say you're doing this for a group of 20 students. You would go ahead and type in 20. And then this is the cool part where you can just click either hosting a workshop now if it's game time and you're ready to go, or you can click into reviewing materials if it's the week before, the day before, whenever it is that you're preparing to host. So we'll click into reviewing for today, but both of those options are going to show up the exact same on your end. The only difference is how it will pop up for us. So if you click reviewing materials, it'll just show up as a test in our system. But if you click that you're hosting now, it'll basically ping us and say, hey, 20 more people got educated on One Love's materials. And yeah, so that's the only difference. So next you'll click the workshop that you want to do. So let's say we do want to go with Amor del Bueno. We would click in there. And this is where you will have to pick whether you're doing the discussion guide or one of the lesson plans. So let's say we did want to talk a little bit more about boundaries. And here you'll provide just a super quick description of the folks that it is that you're working with. So for example, freshmen, let's see, freshman sociology class. And then you would click start now. And then this page will go ahead and pull up all of the materials that you'll need for that workshop. So if we scroll, here you'll have the lesson plan that it was that you picked out, the PowerPoint that comes along with it. It is completely customizable. So if you love it and you want to keep it as is, perfect. If you want to adjust it, hide slides, delete slides, edit slides, you're also welcome to do so. And then we always include the discussion guide when you select a lesson plan, just in case the conversation ends up going more towards one of those learning objectives that maybe you weren't prepared for that day and you weren't expecting to talk about. so that you can just pull in some more questions or activities from there if you need. And then we have the 10 signs of a healthy and unhealthy relationship printout. We always suggest having these either posted around the classroom, up on a board, or if you're able to physically print these out and provide them to folks, that's really great because those are the 10 signs that they will be looking for throughout the course of the film. And next, we have the National Resources List. So this is a list that we provide to you all that you can go ahead and print out. But if you have a local resources list, or a campus resource list, that is always really great to provide to folks as well at the beginning of the workshop, as well as reminding them at the end that they these resources to go to. And then this is one of the activities that you could go ahead and print out. And if you scroll down a pinch more, this is where you would actually go ahead and play the film from when it is time. And at the very bottom, we have the post-workshop participant survey. I promise you, it does not go into just a sea of information that we never look at. We have someone who reads through every single response, and we are really, really hoping that folks continue to push the survey, because this is where, I mean, we get the feedback from folks on what's working, what's not working, and yeah, so it's really important to share that survey at the end of workshops as well. And that is our education center. I know that's kind of a lot of information, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop sharing. Do any of you have questions on anything throughout? Whether on how to get trained or on content, if you have any questions whatsoever.
I don't necessarily have a question, Brittany, but I'll definitely be wanting to connect after this so we can talk, because this is going to be so useful for USC. I'm the only person who does both prevention and advocacy, and it's a really interesting space to be in. And I don't know what it has been about this year, but it has been just like the year of DV cases for us. It has been so intense. We've seen so many. And I'm like, our advocates could use these, our student workers in prevention could use these. So I'll definitely look forward to connecting with you after this. This is a great resource.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. I know, Soumya, off the top of your head, do you know, I think USC is already using some of the content. I'm not the one that works with colleges directly, so Soumya is our expert in the room on that. But yeah, it'll be really great to kind of expand there as well. So, and hopefully it looks familiar maybe to some folks that you end up reaching. Perfect. And then Pilar, awesome. Thank you. Perfect. And then any other questions or comments? Anything at all? Perfect.
If you could just put your contact info, or if there's someone else, I mean, I can put your contact info in the chat, but if there's anyone else that folks should be reaching out to directly, that would be super helpful. I know you said Soumya knows directly about which campuses. So Soumya, if you want to put your contact info, if it's better for folks to contact you directly.
Yeah, I can put my info, and I can also follow up with everyone on the call. Even if you're not planning on like doing a whole workshop or a discussion, you can still use any of our resources around campus. And I do believe a lot of the colleges in your area do One Love workshops, or there are at least students that are doing it on campus. So if you wanted to connect with them, I would be happy to do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because something I did not touch on is that we do have Team One Love clubs. So we do have some clubs at some of the universities that y'all work at. And that's who Soumya can go ahead and put you in contact with. And those are just folks that, like I said, since it is a train the trainer model, literally anyone in the community could get trained to host these workshops. So some of the students will go on and get trained on the education center and then host these either with their fraternities, sororities, or their classes or their clubs. So that's just some of the places that we've seen it kind of get plugged in before.
Yeah, well, that would be good for folks to know too, because if there's already like you
Right.
said, there may be some folks on USC who've been trained to do it, like linking back up so that you're kind of like completing that circle and knowing, okay, these folks are doing this work already, like let's loop them in with the stuff we're doing so
Yeah.
that they can, promote our events and our supports and services as well. Because I know that that's been an issue on some of the campuses too, is like folks going outside to get supports and services that are already offered for free on the campus and not knowing, right, that these things exist. So, looping in the students who may already be doing this work would be super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true because a lot of the time, when I do talk to colleges, students never know that there's things on campus for them to already utilize. So I always say check with your campus first to see if you can like have one of the multiple people come and like be at your workshop or your One Love event. So that is a great thing that you pointed out.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then if anyone on the call is like, this sounds cool, but I have no idea how I would plug this into my work, that is what we're here for. So Somia will be your point of contact if you have any questions on how to implement the program, any questions on the trainings. Let's say you go through and you're like, hey, I'm still not comfortable like talking about this. Like, what would you suggest if like my group's super quiet or my group's super rambunctious? We are here to provide all those recommendations and kind of brainstorm with you all to see what the best way to bring it to your campus is. So if nothing comes to mind right now and you are drawing a blank, that is okay. But we will be around after as well.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Does anyone have any other questions, any things they want to go over? We can give you back a few minutes. Everyone always likes, right? Go have time to go get a coffee or something. All right, friends. Well, it's been lovely to see you, and thank you so much again to One Love for joining us. We really appreciate all the supports and services and resources that you're offering. And thanks everyone. We'll see you again next month.
Thank you guys so much for having us. We look
Thanks,
forward to connecting
friends.
with you all. Happy October.
Bye.
Thank you.